Hey everyone, hope everybody are doing fine and welcome back to Mind Map sessions. We have already completed enough chapters where we have revised all of them with the help of beautiful mind maps, isn't it? And today I have come up with one more interesting and important chapter of biology section, that is control and coordination. So today's mind map topic is control and coordination. So the most wonderful chapter, control and coordination. Okay, so let us revise this chapter in the form of flowchart, right? Okay, see, the first important aspect that you study in a chapter is about nervous system. Okay, so you will study about nervous system. Can you tell me what is the importance of this nervous system? See, nervous system is the major group of tissues that helps for coordination. Yes or no? See, if one part of a body has to communicate with other part of a body, it always happens through a form of tissue called nervous tissue, or this is what we mean by nervous system. Okay, where information is passed from one part of a body to another part of a body with the help of nerves. So, in the nervous system, we study the four things here. Okay, so this main heading is again subdivided into four subtopics. One is about neuron. So, we all know neuron is nothing but a nerve cell, right? What do we call neuron as? Nerve cell. So in neuron, the most important part that you have to study is its structure. Okay, the diagram of neuron can be asked in the examination. So you must clearly know how to draw the diagram of neuron. It will have a cell body, axon, dendrites, nerve ending, all the parts you must able to label perfectly. Clear? And if you want to know how to draw all these diagrams easily, I have done a beautiful video on all important diagrams where I have shown how to draw these diagrams easily. So its link I will provide in the description. You can go and check. Clear? Fine. So diagram of neuron is very, very important. And after that, here comes one important definition that you have to remember, that is synapse. So you must understand what do you mean by synapse. So what is a synapse? It is a gap between two neurons. A gap between two neurons is called as synapse. And coming to the third aspect that you have to learn under neuron is, what happens at synapse? Say, this is a very famous question that you can expect from this chapter. So what happens? What happens at synapse? Okay. So, you need to explain the things that are happening between the two neurons. Say the information is passed in the form of electric impulse. The moment it reaches nerve ending, in the gap, this electric impulse gets converted into chemicals. And we call them as neurotransmitters. Say in the form of neurotransmitters, information is passed from one neuron to another neuron. Okay. So this is what you have to explain in 3 to 4 sentences. It can be asked for 2 marks. Say all important questions on this chapter I have done in a video. Okay, called important questions or application questions from control and coordination. Its video link also I have provided in the description. Okay, so where I have written the answer on a board, you can go and check it out. Now I am just discussing since it's a final revision. Okay, so what happens at a synapse is one more important question. So this is all about the neuron that you have to remember. And coming to the next topic that you have to read in nervous system is about brain. About brain. Okay, so again here the moment you talk about a brain, here again structure of brain, there is a diagram of human brain that is important to practice. Okay, so at least one diagram may be compulsory from this chapter. If not a diagram, at least a diagram based questions they will ask you, either neuron or human brain. Okay, diagrams you have to practice it thoroughly. Easy way of practicing, I have done it in a video. Don't forget to watch that video, whose link is provided in the description. Okay, fine. So after learning or after practicing, the diagram of human brain, next important thing is the functions of different parts of the brain. Okay, so brain mainly has the three parts, right? So different parts. For example, you have forebrain, right? Midbrain and hindbrain. So these are the different parts of human brain. So what is the function of each and every part? This is the most important topic here. So let me discuss what is the function of forebrain. Forebrain helps for memory, and it is a seat of intelligence, right? And smelling, tasting, all this is relating to your forebrain. Clear? So what are the functions? Any two functions you can mention. It is a seat of intelligence, I can say, right? And it is a seat of memory also. So many of the things are controlled by forebrain. And coming to the midbrain, midbrain actually controls some of the involuntary functions. Some of the involuntary functions. So what do you mean by involuntary functions? The functions which are not under our thinking process control is called involuntary functions. Okay, like heartbeat, vomiting, sneezing. If you want to control them, you can't do it. Your thinking process can never control them. So such functions are called involuntary functions, right? And such involuntary functions are controlled by midbrain. And coming to the hindbrain, hindbrain again has three parts. One is cerebellum, medulla oblongata, and pons. We have something called pons. Okay, say here cerebellum's function is body posture or body balance. Body balance related things can be controlled by cerebellum, which is a part of hindbrain. Okay, and medulla oblongata controls sneezing, okay, vomiting, coughing. So all these involuntary functions are controlled by medulla oblongata. Even pons also. Pons function is also to control involuntary functions itself. Clear? Fine. So this is all about a human brain that you have to remember. And now coming to the third part of a nervous system, that is reflex actions. Reflex actions. So this is one more important topic. What do you mean by a reflex actions? These are the sudden actions coordinated by spinal cord, right? Say sometimes the information may not go to the brain, right? It may take lot of time. So the information may go to spinal cord, and according to the spinal cord's guidance, our various organs may work, right? So quick actions or sudden actions which are controlled by spinal cord is called reflex actions. Okay, so you must know the definition of reflex action, and you must know what do you mean by reflex arc. Okay, reflex arc is the path how the reflex actions are working out. Reflex arc is, it's a path how the reflex actions will work. Okay, so if you see the reflex arc, it will have certain components. Okay, and let us now list out the components of reflex arc actually. And you have something called receptors. See, receptors are the first component, I can say. Receptors actually detect the stimuli and after detecting the stimuli, the information is passed to sensory neuron, right? So sensory neuron is the one which carries information from receptors to spinal cord, right? And again, you have something called motor neuron, right? Motor neuron is the one which carries information from spinal cord to effector organ, right? Say these are the different components of reflex arc. You must know what is the work of sensory neuron, what is the work of motor neuron, and what do you mean by effector organ, and what do you mean by receptors. Actually, we have many types of receptors like thigmoreceptors, okay, the receptors which can detect the smell, receptors which can detect the taste, various types of receptors are there. Gustatoreceptor, olfactory receptors, thigmoreceptors, okay. So, even this idea is better to have. Clear? Fine. So, that's all about reflex actions and reflex arc. Fine. And another important part I don't want you to neglect, that is protection of brain and spinal cord. Protection of brain and spinal cord. Okay, even this is an important topic. They would ask you how is brain and spinal cord is protected, right? Say actually brain is protected by a skull, which we call it as cranium. Okay, and inside the cranium we have certain layers called meninges, and between the meninges we have a fluid called cerebrospinal fluid. All these layers of meninges and the hard, the bony structure called cranium, all of them would try to protect the brain safely, right? And coming to the spinal cord, spinal cord is a very delicate structure which is protected by backbone, vertebral column. We call something called vertebral column, right? And this is a bony structure which actually protects spinal cord, right? So all these, how the protection takes place for brain as well as spinal cord, you need to have an idea about it, right? Okay, so this is all about the nervous system that you have to know, right? The first part is knowing about neuron, the second part is knowing about brain, and next knowing about reflex actions and reflex arc, and later knowing about protection of brain and spinal cord. Okay, so this is one part of a chapter. And now let me discuss the other part of a chapter, that is about hormones. Okay, so this is another important part of a chapter, right? So what do you mean by hormones? Every time, every information may not be passed through nervous system. I mean, nerves may not carry the information all the times and all sorts of information. Okay, so comes hormones. So these hormones are like chemical messengers. They are chemical messengers which helps to carry information from one part of a body to another part of a body. And these are chemicals, and they flow through blood. Through blood, they communicate with different parts of the body, right? So they are called as chemical messengers. And these hormones are secreted in a particular structures called glands. Okay, so they are always secreted in glands. There are various glands in our body. So these glands are the one which are secreting these hormones, right? So there they are secreted, that is synthesized, and from there they are released into the blood. Through the blood, they will go to a target site in the sense the organ where they have to work, they have to show their work, right? So they will reach the target site and there they will show their action. Okay, and now let us study, or let me list out what are the glands there and which gland secretes which hormone. Okay, so try to understand this concept very well, because definitely one question may come from this part. Okay, fine. And the first gland that I would like to talk about is pituitary gland. Okay, so this pituitary gland can secrete, you must know which gland secretes which hormone. Pituitary gland always secretes growth hormone. Growth hormone. Okay, so what is the use of growth hormone? Growth hormones help in growth of a body. Okay, it helps for the growth of human body, right? And there are two diseases that you have to remember here. One is gigantism. The other one is dwarfism. Okay, dwarfism. So you must know what do you mean by gigantism and dwarfism here. Gigantism, when you have excess of growth hormone, too much of growth hormone, the growth will be too much for a body, and that is a disease we call gigantism. And when you have a deficiency of growth hormone, then it leads to a disease, dwarfism. Right? So that is all about the growth hormone which is secreted in pituitary gland. And next, coming to thyroid gland. Okay, so this is one more important gland, thyroid gland. So this thyroid gland secretes an hormone called thyroxine. So what is the function of thyroxine? Even every hormone's function is important. Since place is not there, I am not writing. I am just telling you, try to understand. Thyroxine hormone helps in metabolism, carbohydrate metabolism as well as fat metabolism. Okay, so this is the work of thyroxine hormone. And here you need to remember the disease called goiter. Okay, actually iodine is the mineral that is necessary to synthesize thyroxine hormone. If you have iodine deficiency, then swelling of throat takes place, and that is what we mean by goiter. So how is goiter caused? It is caused due to deficiency of iodine. Iodine is necessary for manufacture or synthesis of thyroxine. If you don't supply enough amount of iodine, it leads to a disease, goiter. Okay, and coming to the next gland, that is pancreas. You know, pancreas secretes an important hormone called insulin. Okay, so what is the work of insulin? Insulin function is to regulate blood sugar level, right? It will control sugar levels in a blood. So if you have deficiency of insulin, it leads to a disease called diabetes mellitus, which we famously call it as sugar, isn't it? So that is about insulin. And coming to the next hormone or the next gland, adrenal gland. Adrenal gland will secrete a hormone called adrenaline. Okay, so this is the hormone that actually regulates blood pressure. You know, this is also called as fright and flight hormone. During emergency times, you know, when this hormone is released into a blood, automatically the heartbeat increases. More and more oxygen is supplied to the muscle to do more physical activity. Okay, say a sense of fear, a sense of scariness is due to the hormone called adrenaline. That's why it is called fright and flight hormone. So what is its main function? To regulate blood pressure. Okay, fine. And coming to the next organ, I cannot say it as a gland. You know, it is one of the organ, that is ovary. So I am talking about ovary and testis. Clear? So ovary secretes a female hormones called estrogen, okay, and progesterone and estrogen. Okay, so what is the work of progesterone? It will help in developing secondary female characters. Similarly, you know, testis secretes an hormone called testosterone. So you have to write the spellings of the hormone correctly, don't make a mistake. And testosterone function is to develop male secondary characters. Okay, so these are the important hormones secreted by the different glands. Clear? Fine. And you know, whatever hormones I discussed, all these are actually animal hormones. All these are Animal hormones. I mean hormones in human beings. I cannot say it as animal hormones. Okay, all these are hormones in humans. Hormones in humans. Okay, and now another major topic is there in hormones, that is hormones in plants. Okay, so if we have to talk about hormones in plants, there are 4 hormones in plants. You will observe 4 major hormones in plants. Okay, they are auxins, cytokinins, okay, gibberellins. You have something called gibberellins, and abscisic acid. So all the 4 plant hormones are also very, very important. So what is the function of auxins here? It helps in the growth of a shoot. Okay, shoot growth is done by the hormones called auxins. And then cytokinins. Cytokinins help in cell division. They'll help in cell division. Gibberellins are hormones which have a function to increase the width of a stem. Even this also helps for the growth only. So it helps in the growth of a bark or stem or whatever. Okay. And abscisic acid, the major function is wilting of leaves. It inhibits the growth of a plant. Abscisic acid inhibits the growth of a plant, or I can say it helps for the wilting of leaves. Okay, so these are plant hormones, and these are hormones in the humans. So each and every hormone, its function, and here in case of humans, each and every hormone, its function, as well as if you have any deficiency disease, those diseases also you must have an idea about. Okay, and finally, coming to the last topic that I would like to discuss here is movements in plants. Okay, so the last topic in control and coordination is movements in plants. Okay, so we have different movements in plants. Majorly we have like phototropism, right? So what do you mean by phototropism here? The plant movement in response to light. Okay, the plants which are sensitive to light. Which part of the plant is moving towards the light? It is shoot part. Okay, if you have seen the sunflower, the shoot part will be facing towards the light only, right? So such a movement of plant in response to a light is called as phototropism. So here shoot or stem is positively phototropic, we say. At the same time, root is negatively phototropic, we say, because the root is not facing towards a light. The root is opposite to a light. I mean, it is deep under the ground, right? So the root is negatively phototropic. Root will not move according to a light, right? So it is the stem that is moving according to a light. So we say the stem or shoot is positively phototropic and the root is negatively phototropic. So you must have an idea about which is positively phototropic and which is negatively phototropic. Okay, so you must know what is the definition of phototropism and which part is positively phototropic and which part is negatively phototropic. And coming to the next aspect, we will study about geotropism. Geotropism in the sense the attraction towards the earth, the plant part which is moving towards the earth. Okay, geo is what? Earth, right? It's earth crust, it's a land, right? So here which part is positively geotropic? It is roots. Negatively geotropic, it is shoot. Okay, so geotropism. And coming to the third type of movement, that is hydrotropism. Hydrotropism is movement of plant body in response to water. Okay, that is hydrotropism. The other one is Thigmotropism. Thigmotropism means the plant part which is sensitive to touch. Okay, so wherever you give a support, there the plant part will try to move. The best example is the climbers. Okay, so climbers would move onto a support, right? So that is what we mean by thigmotropism. And finally, we have called chemotropism. Chemotropism means the plant part, any one thing that is moving in response to chemicals, like the growth of pollen tube towards ovule is the example for chemotropism. Okay, so even all these definitions very clearly explained in the videos of control and coordination. Full chapter is covered in a detailed way. Its playlist link also I'll provide in the description. And if you don't have any clarity, I mean somewhere if you are missing a clarity on a concept, you can go to that particular video and watch. You will have 100% clarity. Clear? So this is all about the chapters. So these are your plant movements. Okay, so one final revision, let me do it. So first thing you will study is the nervous system, right? So the nervous system, you have, the 4 aspects that you have to remember. One is about neuron, the other one is brain, then protection of brain and spinal cord, and then reflex actions or reflex arc. This is one part of a chapter. The other part of a chapter is about hormones. Hormones in humans, hormones in plants. And finally, we have movements in plants. So different types of movements, and definitely which is positively phototropic or negatively geotropic, all that. Which part is positive, which part is negative to a particular movement, all that you should have an idea about. So finally, what I can say is this is the most important chapter for this year. From biology part. Okay, so do revise and have 100% clarity on a chapter, and that is when you can actually give answers to the application questions easily, right? So this is all about the flow chart or mind map on control and coordination. Now quickly have a screenshot of the entire flow chart. So done with the screenshot, isn't it? Okay. Say in the next video, I will come up with one more important chapter. Keep revising. Don't lose your hope. And the one who constantly studies without losing the interest is the one who gets maximum benefit. And he or she will definitely become successful. Try to score maximum marks and try to have lots and lots of knowledge. Okay. So use every content in the channel and use it in a better way to score maximum marks in your examination. So thank you so much, and do subscribe our channel to learn the concepts in a easiest way and in a detailed way. All the best.